Hey, welcome back to day 18, I think, of Project Me. It's been a long day, but here we are. We've made it through. We've survived yet another day, and so let's get cracking. So, of course, first of all, some recollections of the day before moving on to the daily reflection, and lastly, gratitude, and then hopefully nice and quick under 12 minutes today. That would be ideal. I keep saying that over and over and over again, but this time's the time I can feel it. Anyways, let's get right into it. So today, woke up early, went to campus for a criminal law tutorial, got that out of the way, went to the other campus for international politics of China. That was good. Went to that tutorial. That was good. Met with a fellow law student friend of mine to work through the law essay due next Wednesday, the legal opinion. That was also quite good. Talked it through a little bit, which was helpful. She hadn't read the cases, the preceding cases, precedent common law cases yet. So it was mostly me doing the talking and the thinking, and she was just throwing in her 2 cents here and there. But sometimes it's good to be the one talking and trying to explain something to someone because it helps your enhancement of the understanding. Wait, no, that doesn't even make sense. It helps enhance your understanding of the subject area. So that was quite helpful, I found. And then I messaged another friend who joined us, and then another friend who joined us. So I had a nice little group of 4 of us just talking. At a certain point, it was no longer a law conversation when the other 2 joined because neither of them are law students. And it just became a little bit of an informal get-together, which was nice. I'm not usually at that campus, and that's where most of the classes are for university. The law and business slash finance slash economics classes are at a different campus, and the design architecture at a different campus, and then everything else is at that main campus there. And I'm not usually there, so it was quite nice to catch up with some people there. That was good. Actually had a really good conversation with one of them. She's quite emotionally intelligent, I think, at least. And so it was just nice to each have a chat about how we're feeling, because she's one of those, probably the only person that I've actually told some things to that I wouldn't normally tell other people. So it was nice to, just have a nice chat with her, not necessarily fully about me, but also about her and just how she's doing. Taking turns, as it were, but I hate using the phrase taking turns when it comes to conversations, because I am of the very strong opinion that in conversations, yes, it is taking turns to speak, but that's not how you should look at it. You should be listening to someone else speak to listen, not listening to speak, or listening to find a time to speak yourself. It's about listening to what they have to say, adapting what you say to what they say, creating something from scratch, not thinking up something while they're talking. And that's how the conversation continues. That's how conversation should be. And it was nice talking like that with her. Not many people, I feel, are great listeners. And it's nice to have someone who is a great listener. And I would flatter myself to think that I'm a really good listener, so I try very hard not to interrupt unless it's something very important. When someone else is speaking, I always try not to think about what to say next while they're speaking, only after they've asked me a question, or I pause for a second or two and then answer, or something like that. That's my philosophy, at least. But anyways, we had a nice chat. It was just nice to get some things out into the open, because normally I used to journal it, or now I'm saying it on these videos. So nice to actually speak face to face with someone about some things. We didn't get into anything really deep. It was really just she and another friend are actually very interested in my romantic life, which is quite funny. So we were just talking a little bit on the lines of how our lives were going on in that realm. Nothing good from me to report, and not great either. It's not funny, but it's nice that there's a little bit of camaraderie in that. To be fair, neither of us are actively looking. I'm after what happened last year. I'm fully out. I've lost interest in chasing. Maybe I'll meet someone and I'll be enticed back into the gladiator games, but until that point, it's like I can't bring myself to go through all that pain again. But we move on. That's okay. Well, I still haven't moved on, but that's another bridge to burn another time. That's a whole other conversation, a can of worms. But yesterday I said we'd go back over a quote that we talked about in the Ryan Holiday book. So we're going to go back over yesterday's quote, and I'll read it out again, and I want to highlight one thing specifically and talk through, because it's something I've thought about for a while and have had trouble articulating, and maybe with the help of this quote I will be able to. So anyways, here we go. This is by Epictetus, by the way. Every habit and capability is confirmed and grows in its corresponding actions, walking by walking and running by running. Therefore, if you want to do something, make a habit of it. If you don't want to do that, don't, but make a habit of something else instead. The same principle is at work in our state of mind. When you get angry, you've not only experienced that evil, but you've also reinforced a bad habit, adding fuel to the fire. And I want to really narrow in on that getting angry bit. And he makes a very good observation about your reactions to things are habits. And I'd never thought of it that way. And I've always had a huge fear based off how people close to me in the past have acted growing up. I've had a huge fear that one day I will just lose it and I will be very, very angry. And that fear has actually shaped a huge part of who I am. I was talking about it with my friend today, actually, because we were having a go at, not psychoanalyzing, but she takes psychology, so it's quite fun for her to do. But she analysed me, and she was saying, well, she was just making observations, really. We didn't go deep. She was just saying that in social settings, I have a very strong... I'm very careful about how I control myself in social settings. She says I don't display a lot of emotion, and it takes me quite a while to open up emotionally, which is spot on, I'm not going to lie. But I want to go back specifically to that controlling yourself, socially. I'm so scared. I have a huge fear that I will one day become just really, really angry and lose all my composure. And that's reflected in my very thorough control over myself, and that I very rarely allow myself to be disturbed, I suppose. I mean, I'll feel disturbed maybe on the inside, but I won't show it. But my fear is that I will show it on the outside, and other people will be able to tell. And like anger is the most obvious, for example. Like I'll just snap, and I don't know how I'm going to react. I don't know whether if I snap, I don't know how or what form that's going to take. I don't know if I'm going to want to punch a wall or something, or if I'm just going to sit there fuming. I don't know how, and that's partly why I'm so scared. I don't know how I'm going to react. But I felt angry before, and it's to relate it back to that quote. I don't want to make a habit of feeling anger. I don't want to make a habit of putting myself in that state of mind and feeling that way every time certain factors lead me to feel that way. It's very much a habit thing. I need to, when I feel angry, just goes back to basic principles of emotional intelligence. When I feel an emotion, like anger, I need to recognize it. I need to pause. I need to feel it, recognize it, identify why it has risen, what it wants me to do. So in the case of anger, it might have arisen because someone has said something so rude or so disagreeable that it's gotten a very strong rise out of me, and that anger might want me to punch them. might want me to punch them. But then I need to, having recognized that emotion, having identified where it's come from and what it wants me to do, I need to then feel it for a little bit. That doesn't mean actually going and following through with the punching, but I need to feel it, and I need to take a deep breath, step back, and just let it go. Recognize that it was there, and also recognize that it's not going to help me in this situation. Well, thank you for coming. All emotions are rooted to some degree in survival instincts. So thank you for coming. It's nice that my my instincts are still here, but it's not going to help me in this situation. I need to let go. And I think, and that emotional intelligence right there, that state of mind of recognizing the emotions coming in and then letting them go, I think it's very much a habit thing. And it's something that I'm so scared I'm not going to be able to do when a time comes. And part of the reason I'm so scared is because I'm so careful as it is. These situations where I might snap pretty much never happen. So I'm not getting enough practice to form that habit, to create the habit in the first place. If that makes any sense at all, I think it does. I'm not getting enough practice to put the habit in place. So my concern is that I won't have the habit to begin with when I do eventually snap. So I'm not going to be able to, in a situation where I would snap, I'm not going to be able to take a step back and refer back to the habit of being emotionally intelligent. Right? So that's a huge fear I have, and I just wanted to highlight that with the quote from Epictetus. But yeah, that said, I think that's pretty much everything for today. Got another long day tomorrow. Going to go back to campus, go to the torts lecture, hopefully not get called on through Socratic dialogue, which is when the teacher just calls on you randomly and you have to argue a point, at least in this lecture. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And then after that, office hours with the tutor, get some questions clarified for the essay next week, crack onto the essay, hopefully get most of the analysis done tomorrow between that torts lecture, the office hours, and my criminal law lecture towards the end of the day. Come home, finish the analysis and maybe the conclusion, then we have a first draft. Take a night off, I deserve it, and tomorrow go back through with a fine-tooth comb and make my wording precise. It's usually pretty good to begin with, but it can always be better. Always. It's the principle. Always. And then after that, it's just the weekend and refining. And boom, we can turn in the essay, no more assignments, and then it's just cracking onto the last reading and then starting to get into the study habits for the exams. But yes, let's get on to, oh my god, we're at 13 minutes. It's going to be real quick. Actually, if it's a long one, it's a long one, so we're just going to skip it for today. We've already done a little bit of self-reflection. Gratitude. So, I still can't believe we've gone over 12 minutes every single time. Nearly 13 and a half minutes now. Gratitude. Grateful to my friend who very kindly spoke to me for hours. We had a good chat. I hope she enjoyed it. Enjoy is probably the wrong word, but I hope she found it as enlightening for her as it was for me. I always want people to feel that they've gotten more, or they've gotten an equal amount, if not more, out of a conversation with me. I don't even know if that makes sense. It's so late at night. When I have a conversation with people, I want them to get more out of it than I do. I want them to feel very satisfied with it. Ideally, we'll be on the same level, but I want them to be happy. Maybe that's the people-pleasing aspect of who I am, but I just want them to be happy with talking with me. Second of all, I am grateful for... I wasn't very happy with it today, but the rain. Sometimes there are events in your life that, and this is a whole other can of worms, but sometimes there are things that make you think you're not going to see another day, or you're not going to be able to see or feel another ray of sunshine or a drop of rain, whatever it may be. And it's an absolute privilege to still be here and still feel the rain on my skin, even if I may not like it at the time. Looking back now, I am actually really grateful that I'm still around to just walk in the rain, jump in puddles. Thirdly, I am grateful for, I want to be as sincere as possible. A friend of mine, well, not really a friend, more of a it's more of a boss relationship, though I don't formally work for them. They wrote me a letter of recommendation for an internship in another country, and really grateful for them for taking the time to write it. Granted, they were several weeks late with writing it, but I'm grateful that they did it nonetheless and that they offered to write it. So, really thankful for them for that. That was really nice of them. So anyways, that wraps up gratitude, and we are done for today. So, see everyone... I say everyone, like, there's heaps watching it. This is mainly for me. See you tomorrow, Ben, and anyone else who's watching it. I hope something in this was of value. Cheers.